You know how comfortable it is to be in a crowded elevator? I mean, when I'm in an elevator all alone, I like do all sorts of weird things, but then other people get on board, and I stop doing those things because I don't want to bother them or frankly scare them. So quantum mechanics says that inanimate objects feel the same way. The fellow passengers for inanimate objects are not just people, but it's also the light shining on it and the wind blowing past it and the heat of the room. And so we knew if we wanted to see this piece of metal behave quantum mechanically, we're going to have to kick out all the other passengers. And so that's what we did. We turned off the lights, and then we put it in vacuum and sucked out all the air, and then we cooled it down to just a fraction of a degree above absolute zero. Now, all alone in the elevator, the little chunk of metal was free to act however it wanted. And so we measured its motion, and we found it was moving in really weird ways. Instead of just sitting perfectly still, it was vibrating. And the way it was vibrating, it was breathing. Something like this, like expanding and contracting bellows.
So what this guy is talking about is high-level quantum physics, but it's also talking about human beings and character and actually storytelling. And let me tell you why it's so important. Ever notice how you act differently when you're alone versus with people around you? You know, and characters will do the same thing. You put someone in a crowded space and suddenly they're going to contract. They're going to get tight. Their behavior will be less expansive. And then perhaps you put them in a larger space, or you put them in a space in nature or where they're alone. And then all of a sudden they might be having big gestures or dancing in the elevator, just like that guy just said. Well, the same goes for writing and for acting. Your character is not just one way all the time. They expand and contract, depending upon who's watching, what they feel safe expressing, and what they're suppressing. So it's a dance between expression and suppression. And this is where it gets fun. What happens is when they think they're alone, but aren't, or where they pretend to be a certain way in public, but then the real self is waiting underneath the surface, and the tension is always there. And that can be gold. The next time you are acting or writing, ask yourself this question. Where is the character expanding and where is the character contracting? And this is probably the most important question. What do they do when they hit their breaking point? That's a huge question to ask for any transformational narrative. So make sure to follow along for more story insights and in-depth questions for your creative process.